This month on Kickstarter, we've got 2 board games on the menu. Starting off with a game set in the Call of Cthulhu universe, Horror on the Orient Express, a cooperative game where you try to survive and stop some cultists on a train. Right off the bat, I gotta give it to the design team with the concept here, because you have a train, a actual train in this game, and the overall design with like tickets and all the thematic elements of a train, I'm really big fan of. And I want to say I don't see that many games that are like this. The first thing I think of is like Ticket to Ride. Like Ticket to Ride is not really, it's kind of like, it's very conceptually train, right? Not like actually train, it could be anything. This one actually pays close attention to the train aesthetic or train premise. I think that's pretty cool. The 90 to 120 minute session time is on the longer side, but I think it's still reasonable considering, for my personal taste, because I do like games that are around this length, but anything longer than that, approaching like 3 to 4 hours, starts wearing me down a little bit. So I think this is on right along the lines of a good length for a board game. The characters that are presented here, I think, are also really interesting, giving off that like very, very immersive 1920s feel that I think this game is capturing really well. So there just seems to be an element of a ritual going on, and a monster on the train, a ritual, and also saving the passengers. I think it's a pretty fleshed out concept. Taking all aspects of the setting and transforming it into this experience, I think it's doing a really good job. So if you're a fan of anything that's set in the 1920s and also horror, because this is definitely one of the biggest aspects, themes of this game, definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have a reprint of a previously successful project, Mythwind, a single-player and cooperative cozy board game with asymmetrical characters and a persistent world. Okay, so I haven't heard of the original, but this is a reprint, and I checked. The original print was also very successful, so I'm gonna look into this now. A 30 to 60 minute session, that's pretty good. My sweet spot is definitely 60 minutes to 60 to 120 minutes. I think a lot of the times though, the games give you a certain time limit, and that can end up being longer and shorter because you have to take into account like setup time, then you have to take into account taking down time, and also if you take into account other things, as for example the first time playing experience versus like a veteran's experience, that can be different. Eurogame mechanics, just deck building, I know that. I don't know what the hell polyomino placing is. Market manipulation, I can get behind that. Okay, whether you're the ranger or the farmer, each character develops new skills in unique ways as the game progresses. So that's where the asymmetric character stuff comes in. Cooperative town building. I understand, that kind of makes sense with the cozy aspect of the game, because it's trying to be cozy. And if it's trying to be cozy, I think cooperative makes the most sense if you're trying to be cozy. Because otherwise, if you make it competitive, it's no longer cozy, and now people are stressing out about winning or not, or winning against another player. Versus here, it's kind of like, hey, we're all in this together, right? Kind of like that. And it seems like it's going further with the cozy idea, because the game doesn't necessarily end. There seems to be a persistent universe, right? This quick save tray seems to be their method for making a persistent universe, where it's quick. I like they took into account setting up and taking down, because that's a very that can wear a game down, because I feel like if it's too setup heavy, then by the time you're into the game, it can get you lose a little bit of the energy. So quick setup and takedown is important. Seems to be how they're handling the persistent universe stuff. The character trays also have slots, so you could probably put in the tokens or whatever into the slots and leave them there, essentially saving your progress in the game. Oh, they're not even the same way. Each of these boards are completely different. Like, what the hell? Wait, it's like very different. The farmer has like crop tiles that go into this entire like almost like cropland kind of area, or like farmland. And then the merchant has a bunch of other stuff. There seems to be, I mean, I guess this is a cooperative game, so you kind of want it's kind of like the best way to make cooperative games is to have people have different roles and completely different skill sets, so that they are forced or kind of required by the game itself to collaborate. So I think that's a good setup for a cooperative game. I think if you're looking for a cooperative game where it's not high stakes and you and your friends kind of enjoy your time together, this definitely looks like a good one to pick up. Okay, well, it looks like it's the month of dragons because these two projects are all about dragons. Starting off with, we have a book that covers plant-inspired dragons called the Field Guide to Floral Dragons. Huge fan of the very naturey dragons and the woodsy vibe, and it's exactly what you would expect out of it. The very, very clearly flower-inspired, floral-inspired dragons that, wow, it's like almost too direct, because all the dragons are straight up reference to different plants. I think Ghibli does touch a little bit on that. I feel like the feeling that you get a lot of the times is the magic is always older than us or humans. These types of older creatures, ancient creatures, sometimes inspire this feeling of like mystery and wonder that I think I am a huge fan of, and they're really nailing that with this. I think this would make a lot of sense in a D&D campaign that's leaning a lot towards having a setting that deals with ancient magic, locations that are from the past, you know, all those kinds of concepts. Maybe a campaign with all druids, for example, you know, tapping into nature, all those things. I think they would lean very well with Feywild. That would be another interesting setting. I think the Feywild would be perfect for this, for these dragons. So I think there's plenty of spaces where this book would fit right in. So in this next project, we actually have 4 books dedicated to various dragons, and the title being Secret Dragons. I don't know why they're secret. We have battle dragons, fairy dragons, lay shy dragons, and misfit dragons, all kinds of dragons. And I think much like the first one that I was covering, it goes into, this is more broad, you know, covers multiple different types of dragons that if you wanted to incorporate. I mean, the other one that I talked about is very specifically floral dragons, but if you're looking for other types of dragons, because, you know, dragons are cool, you can look into these other ones. These are definitely like out there. They definitely feel very different compared to the first one where it was like there was a very specific theme. This is a little bit more broad. I think might even let you incorporate these dragons into a lot more places. If you've been using a lot of dragons in your campaign and you just need a lot of dragons and need different kinds of dragons, these definitely have you covered. So let's actually see. So the fairy dragons are connected to the world of Fae and the machinations of the courts of Fae. So we're getting like even like Fae specific dragons, so Fae wild dragons. Then we got the misfit dragons, which are afflicted by strange magical mishaps, grant them strange powers, but they come at a price. So I think they're really overpowered, but in very specific situations maybe, and you know, so not as to be overpowered, but definitely I think probably the most interesting if you're tired of normal dragons for some reason, but you know. Then we have the lay shy dragons. Family of dragons ties to lay shies, plants, fungi. They draw their connection to the natural world, some more earthly dragons. And we have the battle dragons, which are obsessed with the thrill of the hunt and the high of battle. Battle dragons seek out conflict where they thrive. So these are the really, I think these are the dragons that you'd put as bosses, right? You would put these dragons as like boss fights, because these are dragons that are very intimidating and the ones that you'd want to put in an adventure to make for a really tough encounter. So if you're looking for a lot of dragons and a lot of different kinds of dragons, you know where to look. That's it for this Kickstarter video. I'll see you guys next video.